Okay, so this is the Daily Miracle class. I'm happy that you're here and that you join with us in this moment of, say, looking on a deeper level or intensely at a certain lesson, the key lessons of A Course in Miracles. Those are like a selected, just probably 40 or 50 lessons. And today it's lesson 69. And this was the lesson that you did a couple of days ago when you were, if you do the lessons starting at the 1st of January. So I try to keep up with it on the website. You can follow it and listen to them being read to you on the Urtext, acourseinmiracles.com. I just share this to have a little bit of a advertisement here. No, because it's like I use it all the time to listen to it in the morning, and it's very helpful because I don't feel like reading in the morning directly that much, but listening, I love to do that. So that's how I set this up for myself apparently, and I use it. So if that sounds attractive to you, you should use it too. Okay, so today, lesson 69, and we're going to hop into chapter 23, The War Against Yourself, which I just posted too. So this is all very fresh and new, given to us. And chapter 23 is really like directly speaking to you. So it's pretty direct. So it's a little bit of a warning that I'm doing right now. Anyway, so another part that we use is some of the miracle principles, because let's not forget that this is a course in miracles. Like, it's a course in miracles, and the miracles is not definable in an intellectual sense. So it is good to read the principles so that you know where you deal with. And so I'm reading 4 of them, I think, and one of them with a special note, actually not for us directly, but for Helen Schuckman, who took this down when she was, say, receiving this from Jesus, Jeshua, Jesus. And so I'm using that too. So this is what I have prepared today for us, and what was given for me to share with you. And so it's always good to look at what are we doing. And today we start with relaxing and say releasing whatever you can in order to be even more open. So whatever helps with that for you, I hope I facilitate that partially, but you know what is easiest for you. Like, for example, it is really miraculous how this occurs, in fact, how the release of you occurs, how you come to the place where you're, say, really feel that you're vulnerable, and at the same time don't, it's not a point, it's not a big deal, but it's more like a great place to allow some healing to occur to you. And I just came out of such a spot by listening to some music and sharing with a friend in this like healing moment that we had together. So it's like, then you know again, like, yes, in my release, I'm literally freeing everything around me. I allow that healing to occur for myself. And that's a place, it's a really beautiful, lovely place inside of you that is there. And that is like, here's all your loveliness present. You know, it's really like that. It's like, oh yes, I love to dive into that really sensitive spot inside myself, in which I allow myself to collapse into myself. And not trying to hold on to anything, not trying to defend myself, not trying to establish myself. So that is the place where I love to meet you, because you're dear to me in that sense, in the same meeting, in that same place. You're dear to me, and I love to meet you there, and I do anything to meet you there. like that is really the purpose of these meetings, to come, to allow yourself to enter into a place where healing can occur. So that's really lovely. So I used this song. I will play it now for you. I used this song a moment ago. This is not trying to make something work. It's just an invitation to allow yourself to come to this, say, gentle, beautiful spot inside yourself, where you can let yourself free, so to speak, where you can release your tension, your holding on to, and all of that. So I'll play that to you. It probably takes about 2 minutes or so. I'll let this happen to you. If I can find it, of course. Yes, here it is. Yes, here it is. Yes. Okay, so enjoy this and allow and really use this to relax into yourself. It's just an invitation. It's just something to give, so to speak. And so coming back to where we are, where we meet, I'm going to use a couple of miracle principles to make sure that we know that we're dealing here with the Course in Miracles. But what are miracle principles? So I'll read some to you. A miracle is a beginning and an ending. It thus abolishes time. It is always an affirmation of rebirth, which seems to go back, but really goes forward. It undoes the past in the present, and thus releases the future. See, and this is also what I try to share with you in terms of the music. Like, you can use it to release yourself, to release literally the past, to release that, exactly that what you were holding on to, or what is such a sensitive place inside yourself that you have difficulty sharing that, but you allow that to come up now in order for your healing and to be free of it, you know. Miracles attest to truth. They are convincing because they arise from conviction. Without conviction, they deteriorate into magic, which is mindless and therefore destructive, or rather, the uncreative use of mind. Each day should be devoted to miracles. God created time so that man could use it creatively, and convince himself of his own ability to create. Time is a teaching device and a means to an end. It will cease when it's no longer useful for facilitating learning. Oh yeah, so miracle are teaching devices for demonstrating that it is more blessed to give than to receive. They simultaneously increase the reserve strength of the giver and supply the lack of the strength in the receiver. And here it says, be very careful in interpreting it. So here's the special message. Remember, a miracle is a spark of life. It shines through the darkness and brings in the light. You must begin to forget and remember. So that's a nice instruction. You should begin to forget and to remember. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I gotta forget about what happened before in order to remember what is occurring right now, like an active remembering in the present moment of who I truly am, or letting that come into my awareness. That is the possible. Yeah, that's the miraculous part of it. So, see, interpreting that idea of that it's you give to someone this miracle who seems to have less, and you seem to have more, and you're capable of giving this. So be careful in interpreting this. So you don't even have to interpret this. So you give. That's the most important part. So we come to this in the miracle healing class too. We in the spiritual healing class that we had on Monday, we touched that too. It is like receiving and giving. It's like, well, give and then you receive, and receive and then actually you give. So it's like that has to do with one another. Like you can only give what you have received for yourself. You know, this is so interesting in the words that we use, and you see how far the words are from the direct experience of it. So in other words, what I'm sharing with you is like, don't be too concerned about it to try to get this, but be willing to give a miracle, to like, okay, I'm asking for a miracle in this situation because I don't know what to do or how to be constructively here, how this would work best for everyone involved. I have no idea how that works. So there was one more miracle principle that I love to it's in the text. No, it's in chapter 23. We'll come to that. That's a very lovely part that I don't want to miss. So I thought it was in here, but it is not. So these are some of the miracle principles. There are around 50 or so in the first chapter of the Course in Miracles Urtext. And they're in their original form, and I love that. So I'm always a bit bragging about this, like it's just so great that we have this original text, because then the essence of what is given is untouched, so that's what I love about it. And that's why I share this with you. So one of the special messages that we just shared was this. It's like, remember, a miracle is a spark of life. And the other one is, you must begin to forget and remember. See, these two, I didn't want to miss those. They're not in the Blue Book, and which is all right too, but I didn't want to miss those. I'm so happy to read them. So that is that part from the miracle principles. Now going to lesson 69. So in 69 there are some paragraphs that are highlighted in my edition of the Blue Book, which also show which lessons are the key lessons. So 69 is a key lesson. The first 3 paragraphs are highlighted, and then it continues again after the 5th. So the 6th to the 8th are also highlighted. So we're going through that, and with a very specific reason. You'll find out, because lesson 69 is really also another summary of the previous lessons, but putting it all into perspective. It's an interesting thing. Sometimes when you start to, this word is really in my mind today, is like connecting the dots. When you start to connect the dots of this, and it's not only understanding but also experience, but also sometimes the dots appear to become connected. It's like suddenly it starts to make sense, is what I'm saying. So that's the same with the summary of the previous lessons in lesson 69. Suddenly you start to hear something that you didn't hear before. So that's why we use these key lessons. My grievances hide the light of the world in me. So, and by the way, lesson 23 is really supporting this lesson, specifically this one. So that's interesting too. No one can look upon, and this is on page 319 of the Urtext Manuscripts, no one can look upon what your grievances conceal, because your grievances are hiding the light of the world in you. Everyone stands in darkness, and you beside him. But as the veil of your grievances is lifted, you are released with him. Share your salvation now with him who stood beside you when you were in hell. He is your brother in the light of the world, which saves you both. It's really great, this lesson. I love it. So it continues. Today let us make another real attempt to reach the light in you. Before we undertake this in our more extended practice period, let us devote several minutes in thinking about what we are trying to do. Let's devote several minutes in thinking what we're trying to do. And then it says already, like, we're literally attempting to get in touch with the salvation of the world. So you allow your grievances to be lifted in order for you to let the light shine. That's the same as the exercise that we did in the beginning of this class. It's like, allow yourself to collapse into this. Allow yourself to release your self-identity instead of trying to hold on to it. So that's a real moment of forgiveness, in other words. It's a moment where you allow the darkness to be lifted so the light can literally shine in. So of course is that going to be the salvation of the world, because this is a world of darkness. Like in your mind, if you don't allow the light, it is like darkness dawns upon it. And by being aware of that, you can invite the light to shine the darkness away. And try to this is all happening in your consciousness. So the world is literally also your consciousness. So if you let yourself be consumed by what the world tells you, then you are in darkness. You're literally in hell. And it becomes pretty apparent. Like when you turn on the news, or when it shows you that that is hell. So there's no light in that whatsoever. So, but now you have a choice. Like, okay, let's take a moment to release my ideas about myself, to forget about what happens in this world, and to remember what is really there, or what can come to me. It's like the light has come. The light can shine this darkness away. So that's what is happening. So we consider this for a moment, thinking about what we're trying to do. We are trying to see past the veil of darkness that keeps it concealed. We are trying to let the veil be lifted and see the tears of God's Son disappear into the sunlight. So my question to you then, did you already have an experience like that today? That you literally started to cry and fall apart a little bit, and see that, oh my God, in that I'm so, supported, and suddenly I, move through it and have a moment of connectedness, of a real communication. That is what is being offered here. That is what we're practicing in the Course in Miracles. This is always where it points to. It's like, okay, go to the light and invite the light in. Step back, let yourself go, and do that in order to come to the place where you start to practice this as a daily practice. Literally, like, this is your work spot. This is where you allow your healing to occur, whatever needs to happen for that. So now I recognize that for myself too, and you probably do too. Like when you have a moment that you're really touched by something, and you feel that you're releasing, like you literally start to cry or laugh or however you release, and you see that I invite more in, like to be released with that too, more and more and more. It's like, it's not just this little thing that I think I'm letting go of. No, I want to let more and more and more go in this moment. So it becomes actually a real joyous activity, even though it seems to be that I'm crying about something, but it's actually my practice of releasing my, false identity, in fact. Allowing that healing to occur to myself. So that's what we're trying to do. We're getting in touch with the salvation of the world. Okay, so another paragraph here. Let us begin our longer practice period today with the full realization of all this and real determination to reach what is dearer to us than all else. Salvation is our only need. There's no other purpose here, and no other function to fulfill. Learning salvation is your only goal. Let us end the ancient search today by finding the light in us and holding it up for everyone who searches with us to look upon and to rejoice. Well, that's a clear instruction. Salvation is your only need. You have no other purpose here. So in other words, every possibility that you have to fall apart, take it. Take it, fall apart, whether it seems to be appropriate or not. It really does not matter. It's like you don't have to behave in that sense. It's like, no, allow that to occur wherever you are. This is the best thing that can happen to you, because it literally frees you from things that you held on to. And in your release is the release of everyone. So it's like when you are healed, you're not healed alone. That's another beautiful lesson we come to probably in a couple of months or so, because it's lesson 160 or so. Or 155, I don't know exactly. But anyway, so that is one of the principles too. It's like when you're healed, you're not healed alone. So the salvation of the world works through you. You literally set everyone free by your release. And that is what you feel. That is what is great to extend. So you give that away by receiving that for yourself. So we skip to 6 now, paragraph 6. If you're doing the exercises properly, you will begin to feel a sense of being lifted up and carried ahead. Your little effort and small determination call on the power of the universe to help you, and God Himself will raise you from the darkness into the light. You are in accord with His will. You cannot fail because your will is His. Well, certainly I'll read this lesson once more because it's full of support, as you can discover now. And you feel it when you start to come into this place of release. You feel the support. And also it feels very good because you're actually fulfilling your function. That feels good. Like, yes, I'm doing the thing that I'm supposed to do, and you know it when you do it. It's like, wow, that's amazing. I actually am doing this. I love to have that, to do that, to feel that in my release I free the world. I free my world. I'm so happy that I can be aware of the fact that I can choose for that, to do that, and allow that change to occur in me. So, and then the side effects of it are relaxation, alertness, a sense of belonging, sense of fulfillment, and it's like it's freeing. But the thing that really gets me all the time is this incredible feeling of connectedness. It's like, it's right, it's just right what's happening. And there are not so many things right in what is happening, but this is one thing that is right, it feels really that it's right. And that makes it very fulfilling for yourself. So this is a part of your healing consciousness. Now you don't have to necessarily practice this with others, but you can do this. You can also do this with others too, or allow this healing to occur in you when you're with others. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, there's no... when you feel it coming up, so to speak, just allow that to happen. You don't have to hold back. You don't have to behave. See, all the senseless laws of, say, social interaction, you don't have to listen to that or to play by that rule. And that is really beautiful. So it's a very freeing activity if you allow that to occur. Have confidence in your Father today and be certain that He has heard you and has answered you. You may not recognize His answer yet, but you can indeed be sure that it is given, and you will yet receive it. Try as you attempt to go through the clouds in the light to hold this confidence in your mind. Try to remember that you are at last joining your will with God's. Try to keep the thought clearly in mind that what you undertake with God must succeed. Then let the power of God work in you and through you, and His will and yours may be done. So that is the part that I wanted to read to you, that I want to give in this because of the fact that here's all in it. Like, continuously you are made clear that there's so much support because you're actually fulfilling the purpose of the universe. This is why you came here for. This is what you can be doing. It's like, this is the part you can play in the release, in the freedom, in the healing of the world, to set everyone free. With accepting this for yourself, and just, it is not that you're really doing anything but say, letting go of your defenses and becoming vulnerable and not being afraid to enter into this, say, really gentle spot inside yourself where healing can occur. So that is the part from 69 that I love to share with you. So we're still good on time. So in chapter 23, at the end of chapter 3, there's a section that's called the fear of life. The fear of life. And there are 3 paragraphs that I like to take a look at. And I don't know, we'll see if that works and if I get through it or not. And there's one part that I really love to share with you too, as some kind of, after all what I've said, here it is. So we might end up there too. So in E2 of 23E, E2, the second paragraph on page 222, it starts with this, and that makes it very clear. It's like a two-edged sword. What is not love is murder. What is not love is murder. What is not loving must be an attack. Every illusion is an assault on truth, and every one does violate to the idea of love, because it seems to be of equal truth. What can be equal to the truth, yet different? Murder and love are incompatible. Yet if they both are true, then must they be the same and indistinguishable from one another. So will they be to those who see God's Son a body. For it is not the body that is like the Son's creator. And what is lifeless cannot be the Son of God, the Son of life. How can a body be extended to hold the universe? Can it create? Can it be what it creates? And can it offer its creation all that it is and never suffer loss? God does not share his function with a body. He gave the function to create unto his Son, because it is his own. It is not sinful to believe the function of the Son of God is murder. Is it not sinful to believe the function of the Son of God is murder? I say this one more time. I read it in 2 different ways already. So, see, that's always with the course. It's really interesting. Sometimes it takes a moment to get the sentence right. That's why it's so great to read it. So third try. It is not sinful to believe the function of the Son of God is murder. It is not sinful, but it is insanity. What is the same can have no different function. Creation is the means for God's extension, and what is his must be his Son's as well. Either the Father and the Son are murderers, or neither is. Life makes not death, creating like itself. So what is not love is murder. What is not loving must be an attack. So here's the link, the direct link with lesson 69. Holding grievances is an attack on God's plan for salvation. Like holding grievances. Grievances are like, say, in fact, it's murder. Holding on to an idea about someone that you have and not letting it go. Or, say, nurturing your feelings of hate against someone. And I don't really have to give too much examples of that. You recognize them for sure. So it's very common as a human being to think like that and thinking that you're okay with it. That's where the trouble started with doing A Course in Miracles. Now all these lessons are about grievances and grievances and grievances, and now this chapter is the war against yourself. Wow, maybe you didn't even know you were at war with yourself. See, this is interesting, especially also in this time. Is like an idea of war with yourself. This is so good to take a look at. Like, you see it literally reflected when you turn on your television. You think it has to do with something else or someone else or some very specific person. No, it has not. It has nothing to do with that. No, it is a perfect reflection of your war against yourself. Like, as long as you hold on to your perception, thinking that there's a distinction to make between this one and that one, and right and wrong, and this really like nasty person, or this this hopeless person, or this sick person, or this well person, or this smart person, you name it. You can give them all the superlatives that you can come up with, but they're all literally the manifestation of your own imagination, and they're reflections of what you are thinking about yourself. So that's why it's so good to take a look at that chapter, like the war against yourself, and hear this too in just the 2 paragraphs that I read out of it at the end of the chapter. What isn't love is murder. What isn't, allowing yourself to release in the gentle, beautiful spot inside of you where that can take place? If you're not doing that, you're actually, what are you doing? You're confirming the separateness, you're confirming that you're separate from everything that is. So you can call that murder, because you really think that something can happen to your brother and that is not related to you, and vice versa. So this is good to read, just to have incredible clarity on how this works. Like, you can have no confusion about this. You recognize what love is, because that's what you are. When you are completely in your element, when you're completely yourself, this is what you are. You are all the love in the universe, because this is the way that you were created. So when that is not your experience of yourself, so what are you doing? What is it that you're constantly doing to avoid that feeling, that experience, that new experience of yourself? What are you doing? You're basically attacking continuously and thinking that that's okay, and keep doing that until you bump your head long enough to feel so much pain that you don't know what to do with yourself. Then you turn inward and turn to God maybe, and asking him for a miracle or something to happen. And that's exactly what you should do. That's literally why this course is available to you. Ask for a miracle. Ask for being lifted out of this, out of this world, into a recognition, into an active remembering of the present moment, where all of this is gone. And it's like you suddenly feel the freedom of the moment, that this is possible. So that is really amazing. So we come to the basics of A Course in Miracles, that's for sure. So lesson 69 is a great help for that. And chapter 23 also. It's like, these are the only things that you actually have to read as a human being, and it should be fine. If you follow up what is suggested and make contact with that place inside yourself, allow that healing to occur, what can possibly be necessary for more? You're actually starting to fulfill your function. Okay, so E4, this was the part that I really love to share with you too, because it's about the loveliness. The lovely light of your relationship is like the love of God. it cannot yet assume the holy function God gave his Son, for your forgiveness of one another is not complete as yet. And so it cannot be extended to all creation. Each form of murder and attack that still attracts you and that you do not recognize for what it is, limits the healing and the miracles you have the power to extend to all. Yet does the Holy Spirit understand how to increase your little gifts and make them mighty. Also, he understands how your relationship is raised above the battleground, in it no more. I told you that's a lovely paragraph. It's so lovely. So I'll put this on the website too tomorrow when I present this recording. But it's like, you gotta read that again. That's so great. The lovely light of your relationship is like the love of God. It cannot yet assume the holy function God gave his Son, for your forgiveness of one another is not yet complete as yet. And so it cannot be extended to all creation. So, and this is really like, okay, that's also part of my motivation, like my perseverance in this idea. Like, yes, this is why I want to keep doing this. Like, I want to dedicate myself. I open up the book and read the lesson again, or listen to the lesson again. I open it up because I really want this to be successful. I want to be with the winners in that sense. I want to be in this, that I start to recognize, oh my God, it's actually working everywhere. It's expanding. It is expanding. In whatever way I can, say, get out of the way enough to let that occur, or to accept my function by, say, allowing that healing to occur in me whenever there's a possibility. And not holding on to my ideas, but choosing for this gentle, soft, say, place inside myself where I experience myself as in my natural environment. So this is, in fact, what I love to convey to you today, and in this part of the class. And so, great. I hope you're doing the daily lessons, and if you want them to be sent to you in your email box, just let me know, and we can do that. And so in the description of this, what will be a video, you will find the email address that you can send your email address to, so you can receive the daily lesson. So thank you for this, and I hope to see you soon. Have a great day. Thank you.